Greetings. Welcome back. Please do me a favor and hit the like button, and please subscribe if you haven't already. We often overlook the countless pioneers who have shaped our history, their contributions fading into the background as time passes. Now, today, I want to take you on a brief journey through history and share the stories of some truly incredible individuals whose contributions, courage, and resilience helped shape the world we live in today. These are the people who broke barriers. They defied expectations and created legacies that still resonate with us. So let's dive in. Gordon Parks. So this is someone who's been called a modern day Renaissance man. Gordon was more than just a photographer. He was also an artist, a filmmaker, musician, and writer. His journey began as a photographer documenting the harsh realities of racism and the fight for civil rights. He saw the camera as a weapon against poverty, racism, as well as injustice. In 1969, he made history as the first black American to direct a major Hollywood film, that film being called The Learning Tree. Now, most people remember him for his famous movie called Shaft. This movie was created in 1971 that starred Richard Roundtree as a black detective. It was a huge success. It grossed over $12 million and it challenged the typical racial stereotypes that were so common at that time. That was Gordon Parks, constantly pushing boundaries. Now let's talk about Max Robinson. Now, this was another trailblazer who broke barriers in the media. Robinson started his career in 1959 in Portsmouth, Virginia, where in one of his first jobs he was forced to hide behind the station's logo on air because of his race. But Max wasn't having any of it. He demanded they remove the logo, and that unfortunately led to him getting fired. But that didn't stop Max. Max went on to make history as the first black anchor of a major city's news program, and in 1978 he became the co-anchor for ABC's World News Tonight. Max wasn't just telling the news, he was making sure the black perspective was heard. He fought for representation in the media, and his legacy continues to inspire journalists today. Speaking of legacy, let's move on to Alvin Ailey, who completely changed the landscape of dance. Now, at just 27 years old, he founded the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater with the mission to provide black dancers with a space to showcase their talents and to celebrate African American culture. His mother, who raised him alone, was a huge influence on his drive. She encouraged him to pursue his passion, and Alvin didn't just stop there. His company continues to perform for millions worldwide. Sadly, Ailey passed away in 1989, but his impact on the dance world is still alive and thriving today. And then there's Robert Smalls. Now, he was a true American hero. Born into slavery, Smalls managed to escape and lead a crew of enslaved people to freedom aboard a Confederate transport ship in 1862. He didn't just save himself, he saved others and even convinced President Abraham Lincoln to allow black soldiers to join the Union Army. Now, later as a politician, he authored state legislation that created South Carolina's first free public school system, ensuring future generations would have access to education. Madam Efunroye Tinubu, a powerful woman from Nigeria, was another fierce leader in history. Born in the early 1800s, Madam Tinubu was a political and business powerhouse who fought against the British Empire's influence over her people. She was an outspoken critic of slavery, even after being a former slave trader herself. As the first Iyalode of the Egbe clan, she used her influence to fight for the elimination of slavery in her region. Her legacy as a powerful female aristocrat in West Africa remains significant today. Now let's talk about Noble Drew Ali. He was the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America in 1923. Ali was deeply inspired by Marcus Garvey and sought to promote pride, self sufficiency, and black nationalism among African Americans. His teachings laid the foundation for the rise of the Nation of Islam, and his message of empowerment continues to resonate today. Another person whose story often gets overlooked is Claudette Colvin. In 1955, before Rosa Parks made her iconic stand, Claudette Colvin, just 15 years old, was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Now, while her story wasn't widely known for years, her courage sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and ultimately helped lead to the Supreme Court ruling that ended segregation on public buses. Her actions paved the way for the civil rights movement, and her bravery should never be forgotten. Her juvenile record was finally expunged 66 years after the initial arrest. Then there is Benjamin Singleton, or Pap, is what he's also known for, who, after escaping slavery, became a leader in the movement to establish African American settlements in Kansas. In the 1870s, he organized thousands of black Americans to relocate and start fresh in the West. His work helped create new communities and provided an opportunity for African Americans to build independent lives away from the oppression of the South. We can't forget Matthew Henson, who was a part of the team that made history by reaching the North Pole. Henson, an African American explorer, worked alongside Robert Peary on 7 expeditions and is credited by many as the first person to reach the North Pole. Henson's contributions were essential to Peary's success, and yet for years his achievements were overshadowed. But today, we recognize Henson's incredible bravery and perseverance in the face of adversity. Let's also talk about Miriam Makeba, the legendary South African singer who became an international symbol of the anti apartheid movement. She was also known as Mama Africa. Makeba used her voice to denounce apartheid and fight for justice. Despite being banned from her country, Makeba continued her activism and performed around the world, proudly embracing her natural hair and beauty. Her courage and determination in the face of adversity made her a global icon, and her legacy still inspires activists today. Next, we have Martin Delany, a 19th century abolitionist, physician, and writer who was one of the earliest proponents of black nationalism. Delany was also one of the first black Americans to attend Harvard Medical School. His advocacy for black autonomy and his work recruiting soldiers during the Civil War helped pave the way for future generations of black leaders and activists. Lastly, but certainly not least, Henry McNeal Turner, a preacher as well as a politician. He was one of the most prominent figures to support black nationalism in the late 19th century. He encouraged the immigration of black Americans to Africa, and he was a committed advocate for self determination. His work was instrumental in the growth of the black nationalist movement, and his ideas continue to inspire those who fight for black empowerment today. These individuals were all incredibly influential in their own right, and their stories are a testament to the power of resilience, activism, and community. As we reflect on their legacies, let us continue to draw inspiration from their stories and work to carry their messages forward in our own lives as well as our communities. Thank you for joining in and listening today. Until the next time, let's keep honoring those who paved the way for a brighter future. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.